I had recently spoken with Alejandra Juarez. Although Alejandra's married to a United States Marine, has two American-born United States children, no criminal record. Despite all of this, she was deported to Mexico on August 3rd, 2018, after living in America for more than 20 years. Alejandra spoke to me about her stay in the United States, how her deportation has caused such great pain for herself and her family. After we aired Alejandra's interview, her oldest daughter, 17-year-old Pamela Juarez, wanted to speak with me about her family situation and her point of view on her mother's deportation. She joins me today. Welcome, Pamela. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you are 17 years old. You were born in the United States, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your mom, Alejandra, she was deported from the United States on August 3rd, 2018. Yes. And when you were born, she was already living in the United States. She was living in the United States for almost 3 years before you were born. So your entire life from birth to 17, you knew your mother as living in your family home until the day she got deported, right?
Yes, that's right.
Having been raised by a mother, having a close-knit family, you lived in the same home with you, your mother, your other sister, your father. How did it feel all of a sudden to have her ripped from you, now living in another country?
It made me feel really sad for a long time. I'm still super sad now because, like everything like you said, she was always there for me and she was always someone I could count on, which I know I can still count on her, but I miss seeing her in person all the time because she's an amazing mom to me.
There's no substitute for having a mother in a household, for having a child have a mother who loves her in the household. And it has to ultimately affect you not only emotionally, psychologically, as you grow older. It's actually a very, very sad situation. When did you first find out that your mom was living in the United States undocumented?
Well, I was around 10 years old at the time when I found out because I always wanted to travel and go places. And I would always ask my mom all the time, Mom, I really want to go to Paris. I really want to go here, all these places in the world. And then she just kept she was like, okay, yeah, you can go one day. And then one day she just told me that she'll never be able to go with me because she's been hiding in this country because she's undocumented. That's how she explained it to me at the time when I was 10.
Did you understand when you were 10 years old what undocumented meant?
Yes, I understood what it meant when she explained it to me, but I didn't really get, because I was only 10 at the time, so I didn't really get how bad it was. I was just like, oh, okay, as long as she doesn't get caught, then, she'll be okay.
Did you ever feel afraid for her that she was ever going to get caught?
Yes, I was super afraid all the time. As soon as I found out, every time she would be driving and there would be a police around us, I would get so worried that they were going to stop her. And then, she would get deported right there.
Now, she was driving with an expired driver's license. Did you know about that?
Yes. I didn't know about that.
Did she ever get pulled over by the police when you were with her?
No.
So was she a stay-at-home mom? Did she work? Tell me about your upbringing.
When I was young, she did have a job. She was working. But when she got pregnant with my sister, she didn't have a job anymore because she wanted to stay and take care of her.
Tell me some of the things you remember your mom did for you.
Well, she would always cook for me. She was always there to give me advice. She always, took me wherever I needed to go. I used to like to play a lot of sports when I was little. She took me to every sport event that I wanted to do, to my friends' houses, to school, everything. She basically did everything for me.
Your dad is from Mexico too, is that correct?
Yes.
But he's a legal citizen.
Yes.
And he was also in the military. Do you know anything about your dad's military service?
I know that he was in the Marines.
And he was honorably discharged. He did his tour of duty in his service to the United States of America. He's a citizen of the United States. When he was in the military, you just lived with your mom and your sister, right? She was basically both mom and dad for that period of time.
At the time my dad was in the Marines, my sister wasn't born yet. But yes, my mom was basically all I had at that time because, my dad was serving for the country.
He's out of the Marines now. What does he do for a living now?
He has his own floor installation business. So he installs floors in people's houses.
Would you describe your house as happy, sad, nervous?
I had a very happy household. To me, I had the best childhood ever because of my mom. I wasn't spoiled, but basically she would just do anything for me. So I was always happy. I didn't worry about anything. Even, until now, I wasn't worried about anything. I had no real problems because my mom just always made things good for me.
Did your mom ever share with you how she came to America?
Well, I know that when she was 17 or 18, that she crossed the border because where she was living in Mexico, it wasn't a good situation for her, because her dad died when she was 6. So ever since then, living with her family was just a dangerous situation. So she decided to come here, and she crossed the border because her uncle found he knew a way that she would be able to get in. So then that's what she decided to do.
Now, she was ordered deported, but the government never looked to enforce her deportation, partially because she was raising 2 U.S. citizen children, partially because she was married to somebody in the military. And although she had an order of deportation, they were not enforcing it. She had to go every year and meet with an immigration officer who would say, okay, you got another year to stay here. And that happened year after year after year for almost 20 years. Were you ever worried when she went to these hearings that something would happen to her?
At first, I was worried, but then, everyone in her hearings kept saying that she had nothing to worry about because she wasn't a criminal, she didn't have a criminal record, and, my dad served in the Marines. So eventually, I just stopped being worried. I was like, oh, okay, everything's going to be fine. As long as she keeps checking in every year, then she'll be fine. But when Donald Trump became president, that's when I got worried.
So what was it about Donald Trump's presidency or his run for presidency that started to make you worried?
Just because everything that he was saying about how, he was going to make sure that all of the illegal immigrants got out, and that he kept saying horrible things about Mexicans. So that's when I started to get worried. I was like, oh, he's actually going to probably, be the reason my mom gets deported.
What is very sad and ironic and perplexing is that your dad was a big Trump supporter.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I've asked him about it. I don't really get a clear answer. So I think it just might be the fact that, I guess, the other things to improve the economy. I don't know. I don't really care about that personally, because just the fact that he deported my mom, I want nothing to do with him.
Is your life better since Donald Trump? What? So your dad has an extra $10 in his pocket, but you have no mom.
Yeah,
big deal.
Exactly.
Now, your mom got deported after Trump became president. Basically, Trump said, if you're able to be deported and the country where you're from is willing to take you back, we're deporting you. We're not going to give you any more time in America, which is what happened with your mother. Now, after she was deported, I understand that you tried to contact Congressman Darren Soto. He's a Democrat from Florida. What, if anything, has he done to help your mom fight her deportation and come back to America?
Well, there's a private bill that's pending for her, and I know that he just has to get that approved, but he still has the bill pending for her. So that's basically what he's been doing to help my mom, which I really appreciate.
Well, maybe now, because the House of Representatives is Democrat, maybe now that would pass the House, and perhaps there could be a few sympathetic senators, because you only need a couple of Republican senators to be sympathetic, to add that onto a bill. So it's possible now, because the Democrats won, that it's possible that he can maybe push it through, and we're actually very hopeful and hope it does happen. Your dad wrote a letter to Donald Trump about this,
yes,
that his wife and the mother of his 2 children got deported. What did he write in the letter to Donald Trump?
Well, he described what was happening to us, and he described, he let him know that he's a Marine and that he was serving in the military. He was just saying about how my mom has no criminal record. Me and my sister are both legal citizens. So that's what he put in the letter, but we never heard anything back.
Your father, was he disappointed he didn't hear back from Trump?
My dad doesn't really show his emotions, but I know he had to have been disappointed, yes.
Does he still support Donald Trump today?
Yes.
Why?
That's a good question. Like I said, I've asked him before, and he'll give me an answer, but it's not the answer that I need. So I still don't know.
I assume you're very sad and depressed. Your sister's sad and depressed. What about your dad? Is he depressed about this?
Well, he's always said that, that we have to be strong and be tough, but I know for a fact that he's sad. I know he is, especially because, him and my youngest sister, they're really close, and he loves her a lot. And now we can't see them as much as we would want to, so I know he has to be really sad. And the 2 times that we've gone to go visit Mexico, I would see him tearing up. But, he quickly covers and fixes himself. But I know, he is crying.
What was it like going to Mexico to see your mom?
It was really sad for me because I've never been to Mexico. And I've wanted to go, but I didn't want to go to Mexico because of this reason. Because I had to go visit my mom because she's been deported. That's not why I wanted to go to Mexico.
What's life been like now in America? Just you and your dad in the house, no mom. Your younger sister has moved to Mexico to be with your mother. What is life like for you now without your younger sister and your mom in the house, living in another country, forced by the government to do it?
It's affected me a lot. I'm super sad all the time. I know I'm probably never going to be the same as I was before my mom had to leave, because me and my mom and my sister, we were all really close. And so now just the fact that I don't get to see her every day when I come home from school, that makes me sad. That'll make me depressed for like the whole day.
You miss them a lot?
Yes, I miss them a lot.
Do you speak to them every day?
Yes, I do. I talk to them every day.
Can you describe how your little sister and your mom are handling this in Mexico? Do you know?
I know my mom is still really sad, which makes me sad because, I mean, I know it's not easy what she's going through, but I wish she wasn't so sad, because she's always been such a happy and positive person. But now she's like sad, and she tells me how much she misses me and she misses our house in Florida. And my sister is really sad too. Me and my sister don't talk that much anymore, as much as me and my mom talk, because whenever I talk to my sister, she's like mad or she's sad. Sometimes I feel like she's mad at me because, I get to live here.
Sure.
So me and my sister, we've kind of I would say we kind of drifted.
And before that, you were very close. It's really sad because she's 9 years old, so she doesn't understand why this is happening. She's angry inside, and she doesn't know who to be angry with. So you have to, as the more mature of the two sisters, kind of give her a little break sometimes and maybe try to explain. I understand where she's coming from. I had this beautiful life in Florida, and I had lived with my mother and my father and my sisters, and now it's like now my parents went through a divorce, and they weren't even fighting. They were divorced by the U.S. government, and now we're forced to live in another country.
Yes.
And as a 9-year-old, I can understand that she doesn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
How does your dad feel about Trump's policies now? Has he changed his mind?
I don't really see a difference, other than I know he's sad about them having to leave. The 2 times we've gone to visit Mexico so far, he was also crying when we had to say bye. But then he still continues to support him.
Your dad, he watches Fox News regularly. And on Fox News regularly, they talk about alien invasions, people coming from Mexico to come kill Americans, rape Americans, take Americans' jobs, that they're terrorists and criminals and really, really, really bad people that we don't, as Americans, want to be associated with. And he's talking about your mom, who's by all accounts is a wonderful, loving mother. And your dad still watches this. Can you make heads or tails of all of this?
Well, it's just really disappointing to me, because I'm like, this guy, he deported my mom, which I tell him that, and he's like, the government did, but I'm like, that's him. Like,
he's the head of the government. He is the head of the government. Yes. He is the one who sets the policy. Ultimately, he is the one who did deport your mom. So now you're going to be able to vote in 2020. Who are you voting for? It doesn't matter. Anyone but Trump, right, I assume?
Yes.
Have you spoken to the congressman lately about what the status of the bill is for your mom? Has your dad tried to file for your mom? He can file for her as a spouse. It may take a year and a half, and do some waivers to come back to America. Has anybody done that?
I don't believe so, no.
Why not?
I don't think anyone has filed.
Why not? Why not? Sure. That's crazy.
I know, yeah.
That is absolutely... Your dad can file a visa petition for your mom. She does not have a criminal record. She needs 2 waivers at her interview. 1 waiver to come back after a prior deportation. It's based on hardship to your family. And 1 waiver because she has lived out of status in America for more than 10 years. Also based on hardship to your family. Those waivers, based on everything I know about your family, you guys have extreme and unusual hardship. Now, that doesn't mean she comes back tomorrow, but it's about a 1.5 years to a 2-year process. There's no guarantee that this private bill will ever come through. So when your dad says, well, this is the government, well, you know what? The government has a process to bring your mom back, and it doesn't require a bill. Somebody needs to file for your mom, and it's your dad. And I hope somebody can convince him to do that.
Me too. Okay. I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to try.
Now, your mom is making a blog about what's going on. Tell me about that.
Well, she started a blog just to write about updates about her life and what her and my sister have been up to in Mexico. And she's hoping that, the right person, will see it, and maybe they will try and help her.
And it's great. I wish you best of luck. I hope your dad listens. I'm happy to talk to him if he wants to talk to me.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.